Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's go ahead and get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are slipping this morning with S&P futures down 0.9%, Dow futures down 0.7%, and NASDAQ futures down 1.47%. While reflation trade has been a bullish catalyst for stock this year, the same reasoning has been under question this morning. Some worry for equity investors are about peak valuations, the effect of rising bond yields, and when stimulus programs will end. Elsewhere in markets, commodity prices are nearly uniformly in the green today. Brent oil has climbed above $63 a barrel as Goldman Sachs predicted prices could advance into the 70s in coming months. Boeing shares have dropped 4% in pre-market after airlines halted flights using the company's 777 aircraft following an explosive engine failure. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates this morning?
Listen, I'm saying the same as you. The futures are moving lower this morning. You're looking at losses on all the major indexes. You know, the rising bond yields is prompting, a real sell-off in the technology shares because they are rather expensive. You look at shares of Boeing, which are off 4% because, as you said, they had this weekend, engine mishap. But the engine was made by Pratt and Whitney. That's a division of RTX, Raytheon. So, you have to realize that it's not their engine, it's someone else's engine, so if you get a bad meal on a flight, well, Boeing didn't make the meal. So I'm not too concerned about Boeing. I'm really looking for this to be more of an opportunity to kind of maybe pick up some more Boeing that I can hold for a longer term because, it's things are turning around over there. So it's this is actually kind of a positive as I look for it. But overall traders this week, they're going to be looking at the prospects of these rising global interest rates and the possibility of a vote this week on the $1.9 trillion fiscal stimulus package. And then we have, other positive things happening as well. You look at that inflation, the hyperinflation, and it's important to note that hyperinflation does not always mean depression in stock prices. I mean, the financial sector, for example, typically, has the highest degree of outperformance against the S&P 500, when long-term yields start to rise. I mean, the energy sector is probably the second best performer, followed by the industrials. So you have to kind of put rising interest rates into perspective here. I'm also paying attention to the oil prices this morning, which continue to show increases. I know that there's an OPEC meeting next week, and it's likely going to be announced that Saudi Arabia is planning to increase its production. That would be a real negative for oil prices. I have an alert that I utilize where I follow this reporter, Summer Saeed from Dow Jones. She's on the ground, and she talks to all the oil ministers. And I can't tell you how many times she has reported what's going on in the OPEC meetings and giving you insights as to what the announcement is going to be days before the actual Thursday announcement. So yeah, I just look at oil prices. They're elevated right now. I also saw your Goldman story. I think they're a little ahead of their game. As I see it, you got a lot of issues on the table with production as, Saudi Arabia is likely to increase production. Russia's going out there saying that they want to increase their production. And let's not forget Iran. They're back in the game. They're probably going to start exporting oil later this year. And then you got the shale guys that are just sitting there that are profitable at pumping oil when it's above $40 a barrel. So oil looks good today. I'd be concerned if they're able to hold these gains. And I think, Goldman's expectations are a little high considering international air travel is just not there. But you know me, Shane, I'm focused on earnings, and that's really what I'm looking at. That's where my bread and butter comes from.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's move into earnings. So, Bill, what type of earnings are we looking at today?
Well, Dish Networks ticker out this morning. That's ticker DISH. They delivered a 49-cent beat on higher revenue. The stock was up 3%. It's only up 1% now, so there's still room for Dish Networks to move higher. Corn and Ferry, that's ticker KFY, they delivered a 45-cent beat on higher revenue. You see, the stock was flat after the announcement. The bid offer moved, but there were no trades, so the volume is light. But now I see some movement in it, some executions, and you see the stock is up 2.5% this morning. And a fan favorite, Royal Caribbean, ticker RCL. These guys delivered. They did have a loss, by the way, but it was still a beat because they were expecting a bigger loss than what they actually came in with. So they beat the estimates by 18 cents, but it was on lower revenue. Shares are off just a fraction this morning on ticker RCL. Later today, we've got a number of good earnings announcements coming out. Nautilus, ticker NLS, they're scheduled to release this afternoon. It's priced for a big move. They say 20%. I don't see it moving 20%. I think it's a lot less. These are Friday's options, so I think they're going to come in later and today before the close. Palo Alto Network, they're priced for a 2% move, and they release this afternoon. And ticker FIVN, Victor India, Frank India, Victor Nancy. They're set for a 12.5% move when they release earnings this afternoon.
How about insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
Well, let's go on this FIVN. This is a leading provider of cloud contact center software. They're expecting quarterly revenues of about 114.5 million to 115.5 million. The estimates, the consensus estimates is for 104.58 million. So I could see that a nice little beat here. Companies looking at 22 to 23 cents a share. I think they come in higher than that. The worry here is that the move higher may have already been priced in. On Friday, this stock jumped $8. So it's off a little bit this morning. It's down $2, but there's still a possibility for a nice pop once they do release their earnings this afternoon. Another point to note, that good management team over there. Their CEO was named the top cloud CEO in business in December. So they're doing things right. GDOT, ticker GDOT. This is a digital banking tech firm. These guys consistently beat earnings estimate. One thing is I noticed that they sold off after last quarter's report. I'm expecting to see a big guidance increase here when they release earnings. In November, they announced an agreement with Google Pay, which is supposed to start rolling out this year. So I think there's some good things happening over at GDOT, Grace, David, Oscar, Tom. Cracker Barrel, they're reporting tomorrow morning. That's ticker Charlie Boy, Richard Larry. Important to note, in the last EPS report, the CEO said that given the nationwide resurgence of COVID-19 and the resulting restrictions that have been imposed on many of our communities, our outlook has remained cautious. We anticipate headwinds in the coming months, and I'm confident that we'll be able to we have ample liquidity, and we have the right plans in place to successfully navigate through the uncertain environment. I'm cautious on the stock because I don't feel that that's a realistic, expectation of what's going to happen. Cracker Barrel, I'm a little worried out, and their earnings are coming out tomorrow. Also tomorrow morning, we have Macy's. They're priced for a 15% move when they release, and Home Depot, they're priced for a 5% move when they release. Now, Home Depot typically runs into earnings and sells off when the earnings are announced. But today we're going to have a down market, so I'm seeing shares of Home Depot under pressure this morning, unless there's a turnaround this time, sometime during the day. You might be able to see a movement in Home Depot's stock price after they release earnings tomorrow morning. So today's a bit of a different environment than the normal environment when ahead of a Home Depot's earnings report. So we got to watch that and keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely a lot of things to keep our eyes on today. Well, let's go ahead and move into our economic reports. Bill, what type of reports are we seeing today?
At 8:30, we have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index. At 10 o'clock, we have leading economic indicators, and at 10:30, the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Survey is due out.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting one off on Biohaven, ticker BHVN. The company announced that a hyperimmune globulin that it has developed has demonstrated functional binding and neutralization of multiple strains of COVID-19. Biohaven's share price is down 1.07% in pre-market. Other COVID-19 news, Becton Dickinson and Company, ticker BDX, and Scanwell Health announced a collaboration to create an at-home rapid test for COVID-19 using a BD antigen test and the Scanwell Health mobile app. It's an interesting combo. It'd be interesting to see where that goes. One on Next Point Acquisition. Next Point Acquisition will be acquiring Liberty Tax Loan Me from Franchise Group, ticker FRG, for a combined total of approximately $304 million. Franchise Group's share price closed 4.55% higher yesterday. Its pre-market share price is down 0.98% this morning. In other news, Volvo Car has released its first pure electric SUV, the Volvo XC40, which features integrated circuits from Analog Devices, ticker ADI. So be watching that one. One on Trident Acquisitions, ticker TDAC. It has entered into a merger agreement with Auto Lotto that will result in Lottery.com becoming a publicly listed company. The combined companies have an estimated enterprise value of $562 million. Upon completion of the transaction, the combined company will be trademarked Lottery.com and will trade on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol LTRY. Trident Acquisitions share price is up 1.73% in pre-market. Lastly, for me, Forterra, ticker FRTA, is to be acquired by Quikrete for $24 per share in an all-cash transaction totaling $2.74 billion. Forterra's share price is down 0.72% in pre-market. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Shouldn't I break my news down into specific alerts? I have alerts on events. I have alerts on sectors. I have alerts on hot news, on people's names, and it just gives me that quick edge that I need in order to find those stocks that are likely going to be showing price appreciation during the day that allows me to take advantage of it. I start off typically every morning with my FANG alert, and what I'm seeing there is the White House has been working with Google, Facebook, and Twitter in an effort to stop the misinformation campaigns that are being spread on social media related to the COVID vaccines. Amazon, Google, UK regulators, they're planning to launch a number of antitrust investigations into big tech companies such as Google and Amazon over the course of this year. Now, if you remember from last week, I noted the US regulators are planning to hold a series of hearings this week to consider legislation proposals to address the anti-competitive practices that are going on by the major tech firms. My Dow Jones 30 alert, I've got Boeing on there. United removes Boeing 777s from service in the wake of the engine explosion. Covered that a little bit earlier. CVX, this is Chevron. They're developing reporting tools with Singapore's Pavilion on greenhouse gas emissions. So it's kind of a reporting tool to kind of see the gas emissions. That's kind of interesting. Home Depot, it's priced for a $14 move when they release earnings tomorrow morning. Let's talk analyst days and investor conferences. Snap, ticker SNAP. These guys are hosting a live investor day tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. I noticed Morgan Stanley just upgraded the stock to overweight and they put an $80 price target on it. Now, this is ahead of tomorrow's event. I get the impression, I just have a feeling that they're going to be announcing something that's going to create some momentum in the stock price of Snap tomorrow morning. So it's one you're going to want to watch. If it's weak today, there might be an opportunity to pick some up to hold for a 24-hour period. Quest Diagnostics, that's ticker DGX, David Grace X-Ray. They're going to be making a presentation Wednesday at a Citigroup conference. And you could see a positive bounce on Wednesday off of this. And that's shares of ticker DGX. It's trading off. It's trading about, I think it was 119. It was up to 130 earlier. It could go down to 115, but you want to watch it for some opportunities in order to go long this stock. This is where a lot of people are going to be getting their COVID vaccination. So ticker DGX is one to be watching. My retail alert was going off strong this morning. First off, Gap stores. That's ticker GPS, Grace, Paul, Sam. There are reports out there this morning that they're considering and will likely be closing all of their retail outlets in the UK and in Ireland starting in July. They're looking to really become an online only business in Europe. That's ticker GPS, Gap Stores. Camping Worldwide Holdings, that's ticker CWH, Charlie William Henry. They're continuing to expand in the Northeast. They just took over another firm, Lee's Family Trailer of Windham, Maine. It's kind of interesting. They're really trying to increase their presence in the Northeast strongly. And let's talk Kohl's. This is ticker KSS. There's an investor group, and the name of the investor group is The Investor Group. They believe that Kohl's has the opportunity to generate more than $10 in annual earnings per share within the next few years, which could easily drive the stock price 2 times higher than its current levels. And they believe it can be done through a sale leaseback program for the $3 billion of real estate and a properly executed large share repurchasing program. So we want to keep an eye on Kohl's this morning, ticker KSS. I don't know if this is a merger or more, it's really shareholder activism. Ticker PFG, Paul Frank Grace, Elliott and Associates. These guys are a stud. Elliott has just built a stake in Principal Financial, ticker PFG, and they're really planning to push for changes within the company. And I just want to throw out shares of Sarapinin, that's ticker SRPT. When they have a drug that's going to be coming under FDA review for a vote this week on February 25th at the latest. So watch shares for SRPT. You might going to see some action in this stock this week.
Well, moving into our trade talk picks for today, I'm picking Trident Acquisitions, ticker TDAC, one we just spoke about earlier, how it's entered into a merger agreement with Auto Lotto. It's going to result in Lottery.com becoming a publicly listed company. It's a big deal. It's positive news. It's a high price tag of an enterprise value, 562 million. So, it's trading at an all-time high right now. It's up close to $16. However, it's not a high price, so is it one that we can expect to go a bit higher? Sure, I think so. And so this is one I'm looking at to do that. What's your pick looking like today, Bill?
Well, I'm doing, Nautilus, ticker NLS, Nancy, Larry, Sam. And my reasons are solid. I mean, it's a run into earnings. There was very positive option flow on Friday. I saw a call put ratio story out there saying the ratio was 13-1. With earnings out this afternoon, I could see, this thing just pop once the numbers come out, and I'd be selling right into that pop. These guys introduced multiple new products that were made available in December. And, the best-selling season is really October through March. So we're really in the thick of it right now. And they even announced a change in their quarterly reporting schedule to kind of highlight this fact. So I'm looking for shares of NLS. 29.75, is probably a good entry point. And I could see this thing having a nice little gain this morning.
Moving into what's hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that will be moving the stocks today. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Bill, looking at our newswire alerts, seeing the headlines that are streaming in, which are the ones that we should be letting traders know about?
I see that Ford issued a recall in North America for the F-Series Super Duty vehicles on their trucks, due to safety compliance issues. I see that demand for the Eurozone debt, it's staying strong, but it's really because the issuances have slowed down. And ticker UGRO, this is Urban Grow. They've really eliminated about 80% of their $5.76 million worth of debt. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on for ticker UGRO.
One on ABBV, ticker ABBV. One of their recently phase 3 studied treatments has just met primary, secondary endpoints.
Ticker YELL, that's Yellow Corp. Their starts in a nationwide recruiting drive. That could be interesting. Now, here's one. PBR, Petrobras, says that the Ministry of Mines and Energy seeks a meeting to replace the CEO. Came out in a regulatory filing just now, PBR. Boeing's recommending grounding certain 777s as the regulators are probing what happened with that United Airlines flight, the engine failure. They really need to look at the engine. They need to look at Pratt & Whitney.
One on Rush Street Interactive, ticker RSI. They've just entered into a strategic partnership with Penn National, ticker PENN.
See, Salesforce got another upgrade by B of A to $300. Remember, they just about Slack. That's ticker WRK. Big acquisition. So they're really integrating the company strongly, and yeah, shares of CRM look to be moving higher over the course of this year.
One on Capstone Turbine, ticker CPST. They're to receive a $5 million settlement fee from a former supplier. Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
Just to follow up on the Principal Financial, they're initiating a strategic review. It's really because of Elliott and Associates coming in there, but they just said they're doing that. But that's all I have.
Same here. So that'll do it for us as far as what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind, you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Friday, I had Romeo Power, ticker RMO. It opened at $15.20, but we said this was a little too high. We knew it was going to be, and to wait for some price dip. The price dip came around 10:20 to 11:15 a.m. It was a good amount of time where you could get in shares under $15. The price hit a high around $15.13 just before noon, so not long after that buy, and then ran off until the close, where it closed at $14.89. So there was a little window to make some gains, and hey, this is a day trading program. So if you caught that, you caught a 1.89% or 86% increase and made some green there. So it wasn't too bad. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, I did, Palo Alto Networks. That's, ticker PANW. This was an earnings play. The stock opened up at 295.26, and within the first 15 minutes, this stock was trading over 400. So it was a quick $400 run. I really wanted to wait a little bit later because I thought it was just a little overpriced in the pre-market. Because if you recall, when I saw it, it was trading $390 and it was up $6 already. And yeah, I just thought maybe I missed it already. And but later in the day, it traded below the in the 394 range, and then it popped right back up to almost 397. So there were multiple opportunities to get in. I look at the stock today at 393.48. In the pre-market, the bid offers 392 to 393.50. If you can get in under 393, this thing could start showing price appreciation again later today. But Friday's trade was a winner, no doubt, and it met the criteria. So I was pretty pleased with Palo Alto Networks on Friday.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.